Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and welcome to the New Card Report. Do you remember the Albaz lore? That's right, the branded deck. Were you there when that card dropped featuring Ecclesia and Albaz driving off into a desert, and then 400 million Twitter users rose up from the abyss to tell us how part 2 is coming and it's inevitable that we would be getting more Albaz cards in the near future? Well, if you believed them, then you believed like an idiot, because the new lore is here and it's got nothing to do with Albaz. This time round, it's Artmegia. Right up until the TCG translates it to be Magia Art, and then everyone tells me Artmegia was a great name, even though that name kind of sucks, and that it all makes a difference in regards to the quality of the deck, because that's just the way the TCG works, baby. So let's take a look at the new lore deck with Artmegia and our new main character. Probably. Medius the Innocent is guilty as fuck if you ask me, because anyone who puts innocent in their name is clearly lying, and this is my formal application to work at your local police department. That's what the police need more of, is just a white dude making assumptions. This level 4 Dark Fairy has 1800 attack and defense, and on normal or special can take one copy of an imprisoned deity monster or deity. I don't care. Hate me in the comments. It will change nothing. And it'll either add it to your hand or special summon it. And if it's in your grave, you can special summon itself by shuffling one monster from the hand or field into the deck, but it'll be banished when it leaves the field if summoned this way. Now you're telling me that this fucking twink is fucking around with imprisoned deities? That's just irresponsible. A Stratos for some things, or a tour guide depending on whether or not you want to play into Droll, and it can recycle resources to put itself back on the field to further gain more advantage. Seems pretty solid, and if it's the new Albaz of sorts, I'd say it's a pretty strong follow-up to somewhat generic Super Poly the card. Not even following the proper knowledge of what it is an imprisoned deity is, or deity, beyond a reference to Skyward Sword. So remember that one? The worst Zelda game, even though it's still like a solid 8 out of 10, but it's a trash Zelda game. Either way, it's not an Artmegia for what that's worth, so let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the archetype that this thing's involved in. Artmegia Fine Melt is a level 7 light warrior with 2400 attack, 1500 defense, and can summon itself from your hand if you control an Artmegia card, and you'll even get to draw a card when you do so. While it's on the field, your opponent cannot target level 6 or lower Artmegia monsters you control with card effects, and during the main phase, if you control 3 or more monster types, you can quick effect negate all face-up opponent's monsters and cut their attack in half. A self-summoning monster that replaces itself in the hand, makes your other monsters untargetable, and is a pseudo-forbidden droplet of sorts, negating effects and cutting attack to let you blanket the opponent's board and then beat them over because their monsters just got tiny. Not to mention, you'll almost certainly have 2 types with itself and one other Artmegia monster, assuming you got a monster on board to get this special summon going, which seems pretty damn good. Wow, an in-archetype diet droplet that replaces itself in the hand seems good? I can't believe it. What a bold prediction. Artmegia Graph Layer is proof you didn't see graphite on the roof because it isn't there. Yeah, I watched Chernobyl again. This light level 5 dragon has 2100 attack, 1500 defense, and can also summon itself from the hand if you control another Artmegia card, but this one won't draw you a card when it does. It'll instead set an Artmegia spell from your deck because free advantage, why not? The first time this would be destroyed by battle, it's not each turn, and you can target an opponent's spell or trap in the main phase to destroy it for free. But if you've got 3 monster types on your board, you can do that as a quick effect to have meaningful impact on the opponent's turn. This one's good for getting you spell cards, of which I'm positive there's at least one worth running in this deck, because there's like 11 cards here, good god, and it functions as a free answer in deck to back row decks, which is never a bad thing. The question is, what's the over-under on that indestructible by battle effect being forgotten in an upcoming feature match? I feel like that will happen, or if nothing else, someone will forget and then attack in a feature match, and then it won't die, and they'll miss lethal through it, and they'll be like, oh, how'd I forget? And then a million people will be like, nah, I wouldn't have done that, and then, you know, internet use, because fun. Either way, that's my bold prediction, is that'll make a very funny moment on stream one day, because that's a very forgettable effect under stress. Artmegia Litera is a one you can normal summon finally, a level 3 light spellcaster with 400 attack and 1800 defense. You don't need to normal summon it though, because if you've got an Artmegia card, this can summon itself from hand as well, and it'll then let you add an Artmegia card from your grave back to your hand. This one takes no battle damage, and during your opponent's main phase can quick effect summon a Artmegia monster from your hand or grave, except another copy of itself, and then it'll return itself back to the hand. I don't know the exact benefit of bouncing it, besides I guess saving it from battle, or the tried and true, cheeky dodge if they try and imperm or something. This one is a good bit weaker though, just recovering things to, I guess, get you your Droplet on board afterwards by tagging out. It doesn't really matter how good or bad it is though, because it's visibly going to be people's favorite based on the art. It's an anime girl. How refreshing. That's a fucking bird. More particular, a statue of an owl. Imprisoned deity, beast of Artmegia, is a clever way to put both archetypes in its name for the level 4 Innocent one. This level 1 Earth Illusion type monster has 300 attack and 200 defense, and while you control this, you'll be locked into only fusion summoning from the extra deck. During the main phase though, you can get around that by using the second effect, that is to quick effect fusion summon an Artmegia monster, or exactly Nerva the Imprisoned Deity of Creation by exactly using monsters on your hand or fields, including this card you control. And if this card is sent from the hand or field to the grave, you can add one Artmegia spell or trap from your deck to your hand with a different name from those in your graveyard. This is kind of the discount Dragon Tail effect, where it searches when it's used as material, and it lets it use itself as material, which is pretty nice. Being summonable off the level 4 Innocent one means you can make any 2 material Artmegia fusion off of a normal, or by reviving it from the grave to save your normal with the graveyard effect of Medius the Innocent Edius, or whatever the hell that card's name was. And seeing as it's a fusion deck, I think the fusion effect card is pretty solid. Plus it's an owl. That's kind of neat. It's a little different. I thought imprisoned meant like chained up, but no, it's just like an owl statue looking thing. That's nifty. Not too common in Yu-Gi-Oh! Although I don't know whether or not that's a good, or I think it's a good thing. Doesn't matter, because if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! You're guaranteed to be interested in this deck regardless of whether or not there's demons or dragons or owls, because there's anime girls in it, and people already love those, and this deck already has them. And we also have this thing. This one's a boy, I think. I can't quite tell you for sure, but I do know that Professor Oak has inspired me the more I look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. Take from that what you will. Artmegia Diectoros is a level 8 light fairy with 2800 attack and 2500 defense that needs Medius, the Innocent, and any Artmegia monster to summon, like say the owl you summoned off Medius. This card's first effect will let you target one monster on the field and change its battle position, because 2003 existed and Konami does not want you to forget. But it's also 2025 and they don't want you to forget that either, so they also gave this an Omni-Negate of any card or effect so long as you have 3 or more monster types on your field. And if this fusion summoned card is destroyed, you can special summon one Medius from your hand, deck, or banishment. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Omni-Gate you can make off one summon is pretty solid. Granted, you'll still need 2 more monsters to get that Omni to be truly live, but the entire deck summons itself from the hand if you control another one, and this is very easy to make. Looking like a pretty solid deck, while also looking like it folds pretty immediately to a 30-pound dumbbell, because visually this guy needs to get some protein in his diet. I'm very uncomfortable when looking at it with my eyes. And then there's Nerva the Imprisoned Deity of Creation, which is a hell of a name. A level 10 Earth Illusion, finally a duplicate type, has 3300 attack and defense, and it'll need any 3 Artmegia monsters to use as material. This one needs to either be fusion summoned, or can be special summoned from the extra deck and defense position by attributing any 3 monsters with different types. Either way you summon it, you'll only get to summon it once per turn. This card is indestructible by card effects while there is a field spell on the field, and just to get funky, once per turn if you activate an Artmegia monster's effect, you can make that effect become destroy all cards your opponent controls. Well, isn't that something? They made it kind of generic by letting you Colossus it out for a bigger cost than Colossus has, but it's just a wall if you play it outside of its own deck. But when you play in its deck, a single spell or trap pop or a tag out to recover a card or whatever can instead become a board wipe, which is pretty nutty. This is either a win more card needing 4 monsters effectively, 3 to summon it, and then 1 more to get the Artmegia effect to change that card's effect into something else, but it is easier to make than I think. And that's a pretty damn strong interrupting effect, isn't it? It's a little sucky that it needs other things and it can never be good on its own, but hey, I mean, combos and strategies, what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about. Also, when this card hits the field, I guarantee you will be praising Imperm all of its glory. Artmegia, the Academy of Divine Arts, is a field spell that almost certainly is going to search something because modern field spells. During your main phase, this will give you an extra normal summon of Medius the Innocent in addition to your normal summoner set, and it'll let you discard a spell or trap card to declare one name of an Artmegia monster that you do not control, and then you can add that monster from your deck to your hand. But doing so will make it so that the only monsters you can special summon from outside of the extra deck for the entire turn will be Medius and Artmegia monsters. There's also the fact that you can't search more than than once, but you'll need a spell or trap to discard each time, and you can't search the same name more than once in a given turn. Now, besides the Minecraft build visibly put on the art that you and the boys are going to want to build in your next 2-week server session, this is a yummy-ass Ghost Ogre target, and a decent Ash one if you really think about it. Needing to pitch a spell or trap gives me strong Witchcrafter vibes, which is not a good thing, and that's really all I need to say about it, because other than that, it does technically fetch all your monsters on turn 1, just provided you have enough green and pink cards to discard. What is a bad thing, though, is the fact that it doesn't actually search for Medius, which seems pretty important in this deck, a la Albaz was branded. The fact is that this searches at least once in most duels, I think, and guaranteed to have one other spell and trap to pitch, and that'll let you get an Artmegia, and it is an Artmegia card, which means you can have this on board and get to the level 5 or the level 7 to draw or search a spell and get the plays going in that way, even if it doesn't seem like the best thing in the world. Theo Realize is a normal spell card that you can't search as of yet, apparently, and lets you send one Medius the Innocent from your deck to the grave. It'll then let you look at the opponent's top card of their deck and either put it back on the top or put it on the bottom of their deck, your choice. And you can banish it from the grave and then target a monster you control to declare a type and attribute, and then it will become the declared type and attribute until the end of the opponent's turn. Finally, the world's spiciest Spiral tech. Surely Spiral needs to tech in Medius as a brick to get an effect that they already have in Drone anyways, because Spiral players are quite simply that desperate. It's a foolish burial for the boy that will also let you shift types into Light Fiend to get a Fiendsmith engine going, because that's just Yu-Gi-Oh, baby. The grave effect is pretty forgettable outside of shoehorning Fiendsmith, though, and the foolish, while seeming good, is not all that hot, because this is an unsearchable spell to send an unsearchable monster, and that's just really funny how unattainable this fucking card is, this new level 4 Albaz-esque boy in this new Albaz-esque deck. Artmegia Masterwork Succession is a quick play spell that lets you fusion summon a fusion monster in the main phase by using monsters from your hand and field as material, including an Artmegia monster, and then if there's a field spell, the summoned monster will also gain 500 attack. Wow. It can also be banished from your grave to target 3 Artmegia monsters in your grave and then shuffle them into the deck, because we need to reset the spells for the level 5 to set from the deck or something. This is a pretty bread and butter fusion spell here. It being quick play means you could surprise the opponent with that big old board wipe McGee, but that's about it. The recycling effect is fine, but nothing incredibly exciting, and the 500 attack buff is as out of place as it is forgettable. The Owl clearly seems like the way to get your fusions going, but I guess this is one that doesn't die as easily to Imperm, so it's probably worth wanting one of, if nothing else. The option to recycle also makes it a little bit better. The question is, what the hell's going on in the art here? There's like 9 people behind the main character going on in this artwork, and is she throwing like a bird? She's casting a spell. Yeah, but like visually, she's kind of just throwing the bird, isn't she? Like, can you imagine going to that school? Me and Stacy are gonna go meet up with Miss Board-Negate to watch her toss a pigeon. What the hell is going on in this goddamn deck? I'm just confused. Artmegia Vandalism Assault. That's why we needed that cop joke at the beginning, to stop the assault from going on. Although I guess an Ash Blossom would do just as well, seeing as how this is a continuous spell that searches. On activation, it'll add a copy of Medius the Innocent from the deck to the hand, and god damn it, I just made a joke about it being unsearchable. This video is ruined, it's trashed, it's unwatchable garbage now. Fuck you, continuous spell card, get the hell out of my video. Okay, but the rest of the things it does are somewhat notable, I guess. Other than adding an innocent man, Medius is what I almost said, this will let you target a face-up monster you control and let it be treated as an Artmegia monster for a fusion summon this turn. And if you control the field spell, and that field spell will be destroyed by card effect, you can send this card you control to the graveyard instead. By virtue of searching the otherwise unsearchable, it's not a bad card, since it gets you the Tour Guide of Sorts or the Stratos, and it does let you use generic things as material to summon out that Omni-Negate. I don't know immediately what can be used as material that can be forced into an Artmegia off the top of my head, but it does open options. And I guess, you know, helping save your field spell from Ghost Ogre is a pretty worthwhile effect. The more I say it, it's like, doesn't seem fantastic, but it's going to see play, if only to get you to that stupid-ass twink. Artmegia Banished Change is another normal spell for the deck. This one will place a copy of the field spell from your deck or grave into the field zone, or if you already control the field spell, you can then instead use ROTA, because that's what this is, adding any Artmegia card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of itself. And when your Artmegia monster is targeted for an attack, you can banish this from your grave to negate the attack, and then special summon one Medius from exactly your hand. Well, here's the obligatory ROTA Plus, although it kind of feels like a ROTA Minus when you think about it. Regardless, it will get you to a monster one way or another if you have another spell or trap to discard, and then that's worth considering in some capacity. But if you have it, you can then use this to get any card in the deck, and by have it, I mean you have the field spell. You can get any card in the deck, monster spell or trap, and you can even use it to search that previous spell card that will get you Medius. How crazy. You can search the Searcher. You can also die to Droll. There's a lot of things that are possible when you play this deck. I'm just saying, you can in fact search the Searcher. I mean, look, he's even on the card art of the card that can't search him directly, so clearly they want you to search the Searcher, and clearly some of you are really gonna bitch about Droll in the upcoming future. Artmegia Messena Awakening, might not be how I was supposed to say it, but that's what we got, is the last card of this endless fucking video, a normal trap card that will let you special summon one Artmegia monster or a copy of Medius from your deck, and then for the rest of the turn, the activation of your cards and effects that include an effect that fusion summon can't be negated. Also, your opponent can't activate cards or effects when a fusion monster is summoned. Now, fusion monster is fusion summoned, I should clarify. This can also be banished from the grave to target an Artmegia monster you control, return it to their hand, and then pop an opponent's card, which is pretty neat. Now it's an E-Telly for the deck, which is by itself solid, and the effect to protect your fusion summons from activations of anything of the sort, really, is a very, very, very strong effect, especially when it was printed on the Magicalized Meltdown, or whatever the hell the name of the Invoked field spell was. The Invoked one seems a little bit better, seeing as how it was, you know, continuous and face up on your field, and not just for a turn after, you know, you activated a trap card you had to set, but can't win them all, I suppose. I think it's pretty reasonable to keep that effect in check, since it's low-key one of the most broken things Invoked is doing. Other than that, you've got an E-Telly that can die to Ash Blossom once again on turn 3. The grave effect is cute though. Dodge a negate or removal by bouncing your own card and then get a pop for your efforts. That's the type of thing I dig. I can approve of that. Might be a one of, but that protection's wanted on turn 1, and this is a trap, so it really can't offer it on turn 1 unless you're a psychopath combining this and Lab. And so I don't even want to finish that train of thought. Do not fucking do that. That's rude. All in all, it seems like a very solid start to a deck. An Omni-Negate, a board negate, some spell and trap removal, and a board wipe all in the first wave, and all as quick effects if you have the right board setup, no less. I can respect the fact that there's like a base level and then the upper level as well. That's pretty neato. Also, I'm not entirely convinced that that first card I covered negated all monster effects, or if the translation I read was wrong and it only gets rid of one thing's effect. That could be wrong. We'll find out after the edit, won't we? Either way, it's a pretty solid start considering there's fucking 11 cards or however many. I've lost count again in this stupid ass video, but it's a promising start. Looks like once again we'll be getting some anime nonsense that leads to some demons in regard to the lore, which is a little tired after all the years of Albaz, but then I guess I'm forgetting things like Vsauce and the entire Diabellstar lore that we technically kinda sorta had in between. I don't know. I'm just saying, get me back more Goblin Bikers. Those guys are goofy as hell. If we can get a Goblin Biker equivalent in this shit, I'm all for it. But until then, I'm just kind of hung up on that entirely useless Foolish Burial card they got in this set for the innocent, aka the fucking guilty as shit. Just watch the lore. Prove me right. Either way, if the pattern follows, we'll get some number of other decks that can probably use the Imprisoned Deity cards, and then Mr. Innocent can be teched into a number of other decks. So like, this is the Imprisoned Deity of the Artmegia, but we'll get the Pingleman one in a future set. That's my bet. Until then, this video has gone on long enough. We're never gonna find out whether or not these kids can figure out why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's just have to be a joke that will fit into the next video, because I skimmed the bottom half of this script, and apparently I've included that joke, and I've no idea what the actual segue to it was, but this is what you've got. And so that'll wrap it up for this one. Just covering some new cards in this video. The update out on Friday, as always. Until then, I've been your host, Craig Fee. Make sure you subscribe to YGO Strats. Not only will you impress your smoking Italian wife, you'll become a true duelist, and you'll get quality speedrun videos like this that are still too goddamned long. Holy shit, Konami, please don't give me 11 cards at once ever again. Bye. You can only beep 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 beep.